What's one thing that always impresses you about the Quran?
I mean, there's general things and there's specific things. I think in general, anyone who's reading the Quran, just pay special attention to when Allah changes topics, because there's always a connection, and He treats you as an intelligent person that can figure it out. He's not going to spell it out for you, like, what's the connection between these two things? So, you know, a lot of times it anticipates the doubts of the reader, or it anticipates like the psychology of the reader. You know, many times, you know, for example, in Al Imran, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about just warfare, and then seemingly out of the blue starts talking about riba, starts talking about usury, and how it's not permissible. All right, how does this make sense? Okay, well, finances and warfare are often talked about together in the Quran because you need to finance warfare. In fact, in Al-Baqarah, Allah says, don't throw yourself into destruction. It's a commonly cited verse, but the context of that verse is through financing your defense, right? That to not finance your defense is going to be equivalent to throwing yourself into destruction. And so in Al Imran in particular, this is in the context or in the wake of the defeat at Uhud. So they had just lost the Battle of Uhud. And you can imagine the psychology of a normal human being if they lose on the battlefield would be, well, we have to make sure this never happens again. How are we going to make sure this never happens again? Well, we need to raise a lot of money and make sure we have the biggest army and the most state-of-the-art defenses that we can possibly access. Well, what's your limitation to raising that much money? Well, we don't do riba, right? We don't touch that. And you could imagine a human being saying like, well, maybe this is for a good cause. So maybe we can just like allow it just this once in order to like, you know, get that, because we just lost and we want to survive. And this is the Quraysh and they worship idols. Like maybe we can just, you know, accept it for this one time, build back our army, we'll win, and then we'll never touch it again. And I was like, nope. You can't do that, right? He doesn't say it like that, but the how, you know, why that is just suddenly there, like all of a sudden, at least to me, I mean, there seems like there's an unspoken connection there. And there's lots of examples of this across the Quran where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's as if He's anticipating where the reader's mind is going and then just like heads you off before you even get there. A lot of times it happens even with being charitable to people of other faith communities like the Jews and the Christians. So for example, in Al-Baqarah and Al-Imran, right, you have verse 62 of Al-Baqarah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you the rap sheet of Bani Israel, everything, all their ingratitude towards Musa, all the nasty things they did, ingrateful things they did after being rescued from Egypt, taken out of slavery, rescued from Fir'aun. They go worship other idols. They're arrogant. They are not, you know, they're always causing headaches for Musa, alayhi salam, and all this other stuff. To the point where, like, if you're reading it, like, you'd be like, man, these people are like the worst people. And then Allah hits you with verse 62, which is like, everybody who believes in Allah on the last day is going to see their reward. So it's not everybody, right? And He does this again in Al Imran, actually, like a couple times, where Allah balances the critiques of their ideas and their heresies and their actions with statements recognizing that they're not all the same. And in fact, that's like a direct quote, like at one point, they're not all the same, right? So you have the very last page, I think like the second or third to last verse of Al Imran, which says that some of them, yes, some of them are righteous. They did not sell Allah's revelation for a paltry price, and they stand in prayer and they prostrate and they worship, right? Earlier in the chapter, Allah says that there are some people from people who have been given revelation before, you could lend them or give them, you know, as or give them for safekeeping a treasure, right? A ton of money, and they'll give it back to you. And there's others that you give them a single penny and they won't give it back to you unless you're constantly on them, right? So Allah makes these differentiations within the Quran, especially at these key moments where the reader might be, you know, their minds might go to a certain place. So I think that that's absolutely amazing. And I encourage people to read the Quran in that way because you'll notice a lot of things. You start paying attention to that.